chapter 15, verses 33. First Corinthians chapter number 15, verses 33. First Corinthians chapter 15, verses 33. Okay, mic kando mama inafunika. Sunday Mackenzie. Naamini tunafungua First Corinthians chapter 15 verses 33. The Bible says, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Kama vile nimesema, ningependa kuzungumza kuhusu keeping your distance. Keeping your distance. Najua hii ni rule number 1 kwa Kenya kutoka March mpaka sasa. Keep social distance. Bwana asifiwe. Na najua pamoja na hii imeleta mambo zingine. Keep social distance. There is no kissing. Na kama lazima mpaka umfanyie hivi kama unafuta kafeki, si ndio? I love you. Ama ile azamani, I love you. Hiyo manake hasa hakuna kukaribiana. Labda akuwe mke wako, lakini hata akiwa mke wako bado kuna masharti, because you don't know the health nature of that person. Hakuna kuhug. Sasa kama niko unasema ati huwezi ukalala kama hujaagiwa, sasa hakuna wengine badala ya kutumia hug walikuwa wanatumia kuang. Nataka uniang. Sasa yani akuhug. Na unasema huwezi ukaenda kama hujaangiwa. Sasa sinaona hata ilikuwa ni forojo. Manake sasa we have 3 months haujaangiwa. Na sasa the first case in Kenya ilikuja kwa sababu walikuwa na misiana na manze alikuwa kwa mbali na vile alikuja. Si unaona sasa ndio alikuwa the first case number 1 na case number 2. Of course I'm not stigmatizing them, but there is a lesson we need to learn from them. And najua kama mavijana, najua tunapendanga sana mkiongea lazima tushike hiyo mkono, si ndio? Ndio usikie kanjoto, ndio usikie communication ikienda vizuri. Na kama hujashika ati communication haijaenda through, hapana, suspend that until further notice. Vijana tuko sawa? Tuko pamoja vijana? So we need to keep social distance. And in the Bible also, we also need to keep that spiritual distance. That spiritual distance. In the book of in the book of Psalms chapter 1, the Bible speaks about that blessed man, that blessed person. Bible says he does not go, he does not stand, he does not sit. In other words, he always keeps distance. Bwana asifiwe. He always makes sure that he does not go. And if by chance it happens that he has gone, then he must always keep that distance. He does not stand in that counsel of the wicked. And above all, if he stands, if they are seated down, then he makes sure that he does not sit. Bwana asifiwe. The text this morning has come from 1 Corinthians 15 verses 3, and the Bible is speaking about bad company. So, if we keep our distance, this means that we will not entertain bad company. We will not associate ourselves with people who are of wanting characters. We will keep distance from such a group. We will keep distance from such a company. And to begin with, say why we need to keep distance is because bad company ruins good morals. Bad company ruins good morals. Yaani umelelewa vizuri na umekuwa umeendelea vizuri, na kama mchungaji nimeinteract na watu wengi sana, naso wale ambao ni wameoa. Na unasikia mtu vile anazungumza vile alikuwa amelelewa kama kijana na akiwa katika kanisa, lakini all of a sudden anajipata ameenda out of the way. Injapokuwa watu walijaribu kumrudisha, lakini they turned a deaf ear to every kind of counsel that was sent their way. Na baadaye ndio wanakuja kujipata ameingia kwa shimo na kujiuliza, na hapa nilifikaje? How did I find myself here? Na sasa hiyo ni regrets zinakama. Ni unaanza kuregret, unaanza kujilaumu na hata kulaumu watu wengine. Friends, we need to keep that distance from bad company, because bad company will ruin the good morals that are in us. Just but to define what a company is. A company can be a subdivision in a marital arrangement. A company can come from that companionship you have with the fellowship and the society around you. A company can be persons who are united with a common purpose or a joint concern. Najua wale ambao umefanya business, you have better definitions of this term. But even so, the Bible is advising us to avoid every company and every companionship and every relationship that is not godly, because it is going to ruin us. Another definition of company is that of companion. The people you have company with, you have some commonness with them, and for this reason, they are your companions. And by definition, a companion is a person or is one who keeps company with you. Is a person who accompanies the other. Is a partner. And as youths, every company, every relationship, and every interaction that is not godly, we need to avoid it at a time like this. I know those of us who have been schooling, who've been away from school, and schools have been keeping us busy. And for 3 months now, we've been at home. Friends, even while we are at home, we need to keep that distance, that social and spiritual distance between ourselves and everyone else who is of wanting morals, who is of bad character. Even at school, we need to be vigilant. We need to be on the lookout of such groups, and we need to avoid them. Secondly, why we need to keep distance from bad company is that bad company resorts to bad habits. Bad company resorts to bad habits. And I've said the first point was that it ruins our good morals, and it replaces them with bad habits. And by definition, an habit initially was a coat that was worn by ladies on top of the other garments that they had worn. And this was the first English definition of the term habit. And then this coat became a habit to many ladies then, Na an habit is also a state of anything implying some continuance or permanence. An habit, and we say this, habit is second to nature because of its continuity, because of doing it one time and a second time, then it becomes part and parcel of you. It is a disposition or a condition of the mind or body acquired by custom or a frequent repetition of the same act. It becomes part of your blood system. It becomes part of your life. And that's why we need to avoid bad company, because it is going to impregnate us with bad habits which are going to be brought forth from us and become part and parcel of our lives. Instead, we should endeavor to correct all bad and evil habits by a change of practice. And I believe this is part of why we go to school, so that we may be taught what is good, what is right, so that we may be able to make informed and wise decisions. And somebody said that the difference between the people who go to school is wisdom, because wisdom is what makes you put the knowledge that you have into work. So friends, we need to know to keep distance so that we may not have these bad habits that in time will become part and parcel of our lives. We need to avoid every kind of company that is ungodly, that is evil, that is does not go with the standards that we've been brought up with, and instead we replace them with what is good, with what is right. Kuna vitu watu walikuwa wanasema haziwezi zikabadilika. But look, in the last 6 or so months, when Corona first came, it has changed everything. Everything. Unakaa kwa nyumba, na ulikuwa zamani unasema huwezi kukaa kwa nyumba. Kwa hiyo nimegundua pia kukaa kwa nyumba ni shida. Unaweza kaa pale kwa nyumba alafu other forms of evil zinakupata tu pale, depending on how exposed you are. Manake huwezi ukalala tu wakati wote. Najua hata kama hapa tunalala ni kuanzia saa 8 mpaka saa 3 ama saa 4. Si ndio? Baada ya hiyo movie kuisha, hata zi movie kuisha, unajipatanga umelala tu. Umewatch mpaka umeenda tu. Hayo unazungua unauza. Kwani kumbe sikuwa kwa kitanda, nilikuwa kwa kiti. Sasa ndio unaamka unaenda kulala. Ukilala mpaka saa 3 ama saa 4. And friends, we need to be on the lookout of every evil and bad habit that might be forming in us, that might have formed in us, and we replace it with what is good, with what is right. And one sure way of doing so is keeping distance from such an habit. Youth are going diverse challenges as they grow up. Now, we need to be on the lookout of what habit have you formed of late. Inaweza kuwa ni uvutaji wa sigara, inaweza kuwa ni uvutaji wa bangi, na vijana wanafanya masturbation, na vijana wanafanya wasichana wanafanya masturbation, kina wanafanya ile nyingine yao, they arouse themselves sexually. Inaweza kuwa ni having a couple of relationships at the same time. Mwimbaji mmoja akasema hakuna gari moja inaweza endeshwa na dereva wawili. Na the name of unachagua ni nani anaweza kuwa anakufa. we need to be on the lookout of such habits that are not godly, and we need to avoid them, because an habit can become an inhabitant. Yani inaweza kuwa ni makaa. Inhabit inakuwa inhabitant. You need to be on the lookout of such a lifestyle you might have chosen. And thirdly and finally, bad company, bad habits lead to bad practices. Bad company, we need to avoid bad company. We need to avoid bad habits which come as a result of bad company, because they lead to bad practices. And by definition, a practice is a frequent or customary action or a succession of acts of a similar kind or in a like employment, as a practice of rising up early, eating dinner, doing your devotion, waking up to study. That is a practice that comes out of you. Now, one person also doing this presentation is saying that habit is the effect of practice. Why habit becomes nature, why habit becomes part and parcel of you, is because of practicing it. It's because of doing it again and again. So, because of having that practice of following a bad company, you develop bad habits and you develop bad practices. They become part and parcel of you. They become a custom. Not unless you've done them. Not unless you've said such a statement. Not unless you vowed by God, again, that point has not gone through. Not unless you've said kia Mungu. Not unless you've lied. You're not normal. Actual performance is distinguished from theory. What theory is what you know, what you have, what you've been taught. But when you practice it, then there comes a distinction. Instead, we need to avoid bad company and develop good habits and good morals, and replace the bad ones with what is good. You know, some of you are out of college. Now that you are out of college, maybe you are a doctor. You can say, I'm a practicing doctor. I'm a practicing lawyer. And every other profession you might be following. Because it is by practice that you become that competent doctor, that competent lawyer, that competent pastor. By practice. Also, when you practice keeping distance with what is ungodly, with those bad companies, with those bad habits, when you keep on practicing and avoiding what you need to avoid and doing what you need to do, then you become a better person. Friends, may God help us to put into exercise the instruction and the discipline that has been taught us by our parents, by our teachers, and even our spiritual leaders, that we may be able to do and to perform them frequently and make them part and parcel of our lives. We need to practice how to live sexually. Another definition of practice is transaction or negotiation. And the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, verses 9 to 11, speaking of keeping distance and avoiding what is wrong, it says, Don't associate yourself with the immoral, with fornicators, because they're going to influence you and you're going to be like them. The book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 verses 14. The Bible says, don't associate yourself with the disobedient, because you're going to become a disobedient person just like them. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 verses 14. Proverbs chapter 13 verses 20. The Bible says, don't associate yourself with the fools. In other words, keep distance from fools. Because if you don't, you're going to become like them. In conclusion, friends, let us replace such habits, behaviors, attitudes, and actions with what is good, with what is holy, what is just, what is pure, and every other good thing. Remember our memory verse in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 verses 12. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young. But set an example to all believers in 4 things. 1, faith, speech, holiness, and purity. Bwana asifiwe. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verses 17. The Bible is saying, come out from amongst them and separate yourself. Toka katikati yao. Come out from amongst that ungodly company and be separate. 1 Peter chapter 1 verses 15 and 16. 1 Peter chapter 1 verses 15 and 16. The Bible is saying, be holy, just as he who called you is holy. Let us pursue holiness. The Bible in the book of Hebrews says, for without holiness, we will not see God. Do you want to see God? Then you need to be holy. You need to pursue holiness. And holiness comes out of practice. You practice. Unasema leo sitafanya hii. And you keep track of yourself. Unaweza jipata umefanya, lakini inakuwa leo umefanya mara moja, jana ulifanya mara 5. Keep on practicing. 1 John chapter 5 verses 18 and 19. The Bible says that know that God keeps you and that you belong to him. The one we belong to says, let us keep social and spiritual distance at a time like this. May God bless us and help us that we may learn how to keep distance, how to keep that social, that physical, that spiritual distance from every bad company, from every bad habit, and from every bad practice. Let us pray together. Thank you, Lord, for your word. Thank you for speaking to us at a time like this and encouraging us that we need to keep that distance because we belong to you, because you've called us to be holy just as you are, because you've called us out of the world and we too need to be set apart. We need to be separate, that we avoid every bad company and every bad influence, every bad habit and every bad practice, and instead we replace them with what is good, with what is noble, with what is acceptable, first to you and secondly to your people, the society and the community around us. Help us that we may pursue this word in our lives and that we may live for you all the days of our lives. I commit this dear generation unto you, them that are in this sanctuary this morning and them that are watching us online. Shall you bless them and shall you bless us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you.